Hola, good day everyone. I am Alenis and we are the scientists. And for today's video, we're going to talk about the different science personality or personality of science that has contributed in the field of psychology. We're going to talk about and discover their different contributions, theories, or even inventions that has contributed in the field of psychology. So without any further ado, let's get started.
Here is the timeline of the famous personalities in the field of psychology.
A pleasant and wonderful day to each and everyone who's watching this video. So first thing on the list is Franz Joseph Gall, who developed cranioscopy in 1800s. It is the measurement of skull to determine psychological characteristics, which was later renamed phrenology, the study of the conformation of the skull as indicative of mental faculties and traits of character, according to the hypothesis of Franz Joseph Gall. Next on the line is on 1807, George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel published Phenomenology of Spirit, which described his thesis, antithesis, synthesis, dialectical method, according to which knowledge pushes forward to greater certainty and ultimately towards knowledge of a noumenal world.
After George Hegel, we have Johann Christian Reil, who coined the term psychiatry in 1807. He divided medicine into three fields: physiology, anatomy, and psychiatry, and he made important contributions to each of these with his early work on vitalistic physiology. His anatomical studies of the nervous system and his pioneering work in psychiatry, a term he coined, and the reform of mental asylums. Reil's work was strongly influenced by Kantian understanding of nature and science, although his later writings reflect a shift towards Schelling nature philosophy. Next on the line is in 1812, Benjamin Rush became one of the earliest advocates of humane treatment for the mentally ill with the publication of medical inquiries and observations upon diseases of the mind, the first American textbook on psychiatry.
Alongside with this is Wilhelm Wundt, first psychology laboratory in the world 1878, which is located in Leipzig, Germany. He practiced what might be called empirical or experimental philosophy in his attempt to study the mind by measuring the body. Wundt is credited with conducting the first formal experiment in psychology, where he tried to assess the speed of thought by measuring how long it took to test subjects to make a judgment. Next is in 1888, James McKeen-Cattell becomes the first professor of psychology at the University of Pennsylvania. He would later publish mental tests and measurements, marking the advent of psychological assessments. The test may be readily made on an inexperienced person, the time required for the series being about an hour. The laboratory should be conveniently arranged and quiet, and no spectator should be present while the experiments are being made. The amount of instruction the experimentee should receive and the number of trials he should be given are matters which ought to be settled in order to secure uniformity of results.
Next in line is in 1890, Kurt Lewin, which is also known as the father of modern psychology. He was known for his experimentation to study human behavior. Kurt Lewin was an influential psychologist who is today recognized as the founder of modern social psychology. His research on group dynamics, experiential learning, and action research had a tremendous influence on the growth and development of social psychology. He is also recognized for his important contributions in the areas of applied psychology and organizational psychology. In a 2002 review of some of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, Lewin was ranked as the 18th most eminent psychologist. Another is Mary Wheaton Calkins, who invented the paired association technique of memory on 1894. Paired association technique involves the pairing of two items, usually words, a stimulus and a response. For example, words such as calendar, a stimulus, and shoe or response may be paired, and when the learner is prompted with a stimulus, he responds with the appropriate word, which is shoe.
So next thing on the line is Sigmund Freud, who invented the talk therapy in 1895. The talk therapy is a type of treatment based on the theories of Sigmund Freud, who is also known the father of psychoanalysis. So Freud developed his treatment modality for patients who did not respond to the psychological or medical treatments available during his time. He also the first to theorize the human development, And he also coined the phrase group dynamics, which is about the interaction between a person and their environment that forms the human personality. Another personality of science that has contributed in the field of psychology is Leitner Whitmer. He establishes the first psychological clinic in America in 1896. In his clinic, he developed new approaches for the assessment, treatment, and education for children. Whitmer also adopted interdisciplinary approaches, utilizing nurses, physicians, psychologists, social workers, teachers, and any others, all working at his clinic.
Another is in 1898, Edward Thorndike develops the law of effect. The law of effect principle developed by Edward Thorndike suggested that responses closely followed by satisfaction will become firmly attached to the situation and therefore more likely to recur when the situation is repeated. Conversely, if the situation is followed by discomfort, the connection to the situation will become weaker, and the behavior response is less likely to occur when the situation is repeated.
Another is Ivan Pavlov, who publishes his findings on classical conditioning in 1906. Classical conditioning theory states that behavior are learned by connecting a neutral stimulus with a positive one, such as Pavlov's dog hearing a bell and expecting food. The learned behavior is called conditioned response.
Next is in 1911, Edward Thorndike. He publishes and invented the animal intelligence, which leads to the development of the theory of operant conditioning.
Another is Carl Rogers develops the practice of client-centered therapy in 1942, which encouraged respect and positive regard for patients.
Last personality on the line is Aaron Beck, who invented the cognitive behavioral therapy in 1967. The cognitive behavioral therapy, or the CBT, is a form of talking therapy that can be used to treat people with a wide range of mental health problems. So the CBT is based on the idea that how we think, or the cognition, how we feel, or our emotion, and how we act, or the behavior. All of his studies and experiments said that specifically our thoughts determine our feelings and our behavior. Again, we are
Scientists and
Thank you for
For watching.